Asheville podcast. This is a podcast where we interview different local entrepreneurs here in Asheville, business owners, creatives, artists, and more. I am Sarah, and this is Tony. We are your hosts, and today we are really excited to have Elijah and Patricia of Chill Cereal Bar here in Asheville, North Carolina. Can you introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I'm Patricia Waters. I'm Elijah Cox's mother, and I am a full-time entrepreneur now. Since COVID, I don't work anymore.
So now you work all the time. So you don't work anymore. You just work all the time.
Yeah, right. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mom. I'm the nurse. I'm the everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And Elijah?
Hey, I'm Elijah Cox. I'm 14, and I like to play basketball a lot. And I like to do this business and stuff like that, carry on this business.
That's awesome. And so what is this business, right? So Chill Cereal. Give us the tweetable on what is Chill Cereal.
Wait, say it again? Sorry.
So what is your business? Because we were inspired by the business that you've started and run and how you're making it work through a pandemic. I'd love to hear what it is that you do.
And tell our audience, because I don't know if everyone listening knows what Chill Cereal Bar is.
So we do pop-ups like at businesses, meetings, birthdays, any events, and then we set up. We get like our cereals. We bring any type of milks, any type of what's it called? Toppings and stuff like that. We bring all that you want.
What kind of toppings go on the cereal bar? Like, as I think cereal and then milk and that's it. But I feel like I'm missing something. What do you put on top?
Marshmallows, graham crackers, candy, fruit, yogurt.
So I'm thinking cereal bar meets like an ice cream sundae build, like ice cream toppings is kind of what I'm hearing, and it's
right.
It seems to me. So how did this idea come up? Because I'm in love with it. I am cereal and breakfast is my favorite meal, and then in college, my favorite thing to do was to absolutely go nuts in the cereal section. So I've been thinking about cereal more than most. How did this idea come to mind?
So one day we was downstairs in the kitchen. He was like, "Can I bring down all the cereals?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care." He was like, "We should open up a cereal bar." It's like a light bulb one. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so Asheville. It's so different, so unique." I'm like, "Yeah, oh my gosh." But I was like, where do I start? Because I never thought I'd try to open up a restaurant or anything. I thought, I'm so stylish on shoes or clothes or anything. So I went to Mountain Business Work and took a class, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think we can do this.
That's amazing. Okay, so lightning goes off, and you think maybe the idea, because I think cereal bar is a great concept, right? So cereal bar. Because there's a cereal bar, you can buy bars of cereal. But then there are bars, and bars are for grown people. Bars are cool, and so like a cereal bar is like just the name is interesting.
Yeah.
And so the interest gets you going, and then you find your way to Mountain Bizworks. Is that like, did you already know? Did you talk to people and they say you have to go to Mountain Bizworks? How did you find it yourself?
Well, I Googled where do I can go in Asheville to talk about business, because I didn't know, and Mountain Business Work came up. So I went there and talked to them and what classes I needed to take to write out a business plan and everything. So from there, Mountain Business Work has been my mentor, my everything to get Chill Cereal Bar out there. They believed in me when I told them, like you tell somebody your concept, like, oh my gosh, yes, it's something there. So yeah, before COVID, I did want a restaurant where it was going to be like you sit at a bar and you have all the cereals out, and have your different milks and your different toppings and everything you put on, like a yogurt, whatever you want to put on your yogurt. That's how it's going to be, with TVs in there, where parents can come in, like they have a little playground in the back, because we don't have stuff for kids to do in Asheville. stuff for the teenagers where they can play the game or, do different stuff. I was going to have people come in to read to the kids different ideas. And then also want a cereal bus before COVID started too, because I wanted to go into the community and the schools to talk about how important it is to have breakfast in the morning times, just like Tom's shoes. You know how you buy a pair of Tom's, you get back a shoe. That's how we want to do in the school system. If I bowl of cereal $15, you're gonna get $5 so we can feed a child for a week at a school for breakfast or something. So
I love that. I think that's a really, really good idea. And I saw recently too on your Facebook that you donated a bunch of cereal boxes to some schools too.
Right.
Tell us about that. How did you come up with that?
I seen it on Facebook and they needed supplies. I'm like, oh, we should donate cereal because why not? So I went to Asheville City Schools and donated 50 boxes of cereal just to give back, because that's what we do. We give back, even though we're struggling, but still want to get back to the community as much as possible, because giving it makes you feel so good. And I'm showing him it's better than give to receive, because kids don't understand that. So.
Human things to learn.
It's an observed lesson, that is for sure. And so help me understand the timeline on this, right? So when did this "we should open a cereal bar" conversation happen?
On March the 7th is National Cereal Day. So of 2019, March the 7th, we did our first pop-up at an in-home daycare with Keenan Lake. Keenan Lake was our first customer, invited us to his daughter's daycare. So we went there, and from there, word of mouth and me networking, going to networking events and getting our name out there. That's how we get our business, by networking. I go to before COVID, I went to every networking event.
That's how we heard about you all. Right? We heard through Asheville Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, we did a river cutting.
They're the best. There's no better energy. And the idea is great, and people are loving. So we heard about you through that network that you've built in the community. That's so special. So at this point, March. So it's a year and a half ago or so. In those early days, right? So you have the business model class from Mountain BizWorks,
right?
Elijah, what are you thinking? You're like, Mom, I was just kidding. Like, what's going on? Why are you so serious about this? Like, how are you feeling early days?
Like, I wouldn't expect my mom to take it this far. I was just thinking of stuff, and she actually went on with it. So
So are you there on these mornings, or I'm imagining it's mostly mornings, where you're running a cereal bar, or is your mom really your first employee?
I think my mom is. Yeah, my mom definitely.
I'm the first, but if he's not in school, he go to business meetings with me, because I'm teaching him how it is to run a business. When we go to banks, loans, and anything, show him how to look somebody in the eye, handshake. So, because they don't teach entrepreneur in school, so I'm showing him how it is to be an entrepreneur. So anytime he's not in school or having basketball games when we was in person, he'll go and help set up and do everything else. But if he's not, it's just me on the front line.
Yeah. And do you guys divide responsibilities? Like, Elijah, do you do only one kind of thing, and then Patricia, you do one thing, or is it just kind of whatever is needed at the moment?
I think it's whatever's needed.
Based on some of our pre-conversations, I had a feeling that Elijah might be the marketing director or brand director, because shout out to the YouTube channel. They're both wearing branded T-shirts, which are awesome. So I'll do my best to describe it. I'm seeing a cereal mug with arms and legs, kind of like the Kool-Aid character. Not to bring a trademark into the equation, but
don't do that.
It's a Cookie Monster meets Mr. Kool-Aid Man with the cereal bar, the cereal letters, alphabet soup in the top, writing out the brand name, and I love it. And that was your idea, Elijah?
Yes, that was my idea.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. And so you go from your first event March 7th, International Cereal Day. I'll
Yes.
never forget it now. and and there's a word of mouth engine, but like what is practically, like what's happening? Are you going to like a Sam's Club or a BJ's and you're buying some wholesale, pallets of cereal, or
Yes.
what is the economics? What's the business look like? How'd you figure out that first day we're going to buy a bunch of boxes of cereal?
Well, how we do the pop-up is that you can tell us what you want, how many cereals you want. You tell me if you want Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops. You tell me what you want us to bring. Different milks, if you want whole milk, organic milk, strawberry milk, chocolate milk. It's all about what you want us to bring and the toppings. So that's how we do it. When you set up for a conference or a birthday party, you let us know what you would like us to bring, and that's when I go to Sam's to get everything that we need.
Love it. And then, I could ask a million questions, Sarah. I want to give you a second to chime in. But okay,
Mike Hogger over there.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No.
All right. So I find it fascinating because I think in the wide world of entrepreneurship, I think there's often there's a tendency where people that I'll have conversations with that think that they need to come up with the next Tesla, right? Like I need to make the craziest, most incredible, wild technological advancement. Otherwise, I can't run a business. Mm-hmm. And then there's this whole other school of thought where it's like, you could buy stuff real cheap, bulk, and then make money on it. And that's, do that enough and you're running a business. Do that at all and you're running a business. Do that enough and you could build a lifestyle that works.
Right.
And so I'm fascinated by all things where you're looking to find differences in perceived value. Right? If I go to Sam's Club, I might say, wow, that box of cereal is affordable or expensive or whatever. But if I am at an event and I'm getting cereal and I'm getting greeted, I'm just imagining how much value you add to a box of cereal that would otherwise be just
you're getting the experience. You bring back your childhood back. Like when I do conferences and everything, I just set up and leave because they don't want us there. But when I do daycares, I do after school or anything, we play cereal games, we do different stuff. I interact with the kids. I don't just leave. I make it fun for them, having a bowl of cereal, we interact. But in a conference, they don't want us there. So it's just like set up and just go.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of cereal games do you play?
I try to make, depends on the age, like the Fruit Loop necklaces or different stuff, depends on what age they are.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I love that. Is there one particular type of cereal that gets requested a lot more than others?
Fruity Pebbles always win. It doesn't matter. It don't matter if you're in a conference or anything, it always wins.
That is funny. That's funny.
I would like to ask the room, do you have a favorite cereal? Fruity Pebbles was always something that I loved the commercials for. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I might have had Fruity Pebbles 3 times.
Really?
Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes, all day.
All day.
Well, and partly because my name was Tony. And you got to respect the brand.
Yeah.
Tony the Tiger was a little kerchief. But that was my favorite. What were your go-to cereals?
Lucky Charms.
Yes.
Mine's Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles. Mm-hmm. I think mine is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Ooh.
Well, it depended on the age, but I can still, if I were to go back to a cereal now, you don't eat a lot of cereal now, but if I were to go back, I would eat some Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
But your cereal, Sarah's brand of cereal today is like a granola-based cereal. So you still have something, and you put milk or a milk thing into most of your granolas.
But it's not like it's not like childhood.
Like a 30-year-old version of cereal.
It's a 30-year-old.
But now I'm like, do you ever have so sometimes I have those days where it's like dinner time, but all I want to eat is just like cereal. Like I don't want anything savory. I just want a cereal. Do you ever?
That's my son. It doesn't matter if I cook, he still want a bowl of cereal. But you can eat cereal any time of day. You can eat it breakfast, noon, nighttime, snack time. So you can eat it anytime.
Yeah. This episode of Making in Asheville brought to you by Grain Growers of America and the Cereal Board. So I completely agree. Cereal, especially, I mean, I just think that there's some crazy legs here. I think there's an incredible story that's happening. And so I want to just quickly think at what point, at what point in 2019 did you go from this is a idea and this is a thing that we could maybe do once a month to how do I make this a full-time business? And has that happened? When did that happen? Did it happen in 2019? What was the progress from the first event to?
My first event was slow. I was getting business here and there. Mm-hmm. And then word of mouth, it was like, okay, I was getting 2 a month. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, okay, 3 a month. Just depends on how many business meetings I went to, networking events. And then we had the ribbon cutting at the Chamber of Commerce, and then March the 4th, and then COVID hit. And I had so many events coming up after the ribbon cutting that I was starting to see like, oh my gosh, it's starting to really take off because of so now it's just like a standstill.
Okay.
Since COVID. So
since COVID, it's been no events. Is there any kind of workarounds that you've been able to find? Dropping off cereal and letting other people manage it themselves? Nothing
right now. At first I was like, dang, should we still do it because of COVID? Because we're a pop-up. So restaurants are already hard to open up. So we're going to have to do 100 times more being a pop-up, but that's what we do. So I'm showing him just because a pandemic happened that this is not going to stop us. We're going to come back harder and stronger than ever. Everybody going to know Chill Cereal Bar and Cafe. And we're going to work hard and we're going to get that cereal bus. And this is not the end of us. This is only the beginning.
So I'm absolutely loving it. And I could see the headlines. Serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's so good. It seems to write itself. I think there are so many things. Like we used to do these monthly in-person events, and our thought was like we wanted it to be the opposite of what people think of a traditional networking event, where it's very, I don't know, icky is a word to attempt to try and capture some of those feelings. And we wanted it to be casual and fun, and it would just be so obvious that having a cereal pop-up experience in one of these networking events would work great.
And also because we try to vary the time of day. Like we don't always want to do it at night because not everyone drinks, or sometimes people just aren't night people. Yeah. And so we were doing like morning and then
midday. Anyway, I see that in a society where people can get together without being like fearful of that, how well that story plays out. Interesting. So March comes and things have been in a standstill. So what has 2020 since March been like for you primarily? Is there networking clearly has changed? Has there been anything happening in the business that we can champion or support?
Okay. 2020. At first it was like at a standstill. I didn't know what else we can do because it's a pop-up in COVID. So we have revamped our website. We did get a new logo, as you see, as our t-shirts. And we have pivot with, the COVID guidelines and everything. So on October the 15th and October the 31st, we will be at The Grind.
Nice.
Yes. So we're doing, we're still getting the details in order. So October the 15th, there will be virtual learning for the kids there. They'll bring their computers there, and Chill Cereal Bar is going to provide cereal for them.
That's great.
So that's on the 15th. That's going to be from 8 to 12. And then on Halloween, we're doing something with the kids in the morning time from 8 to 12 at The Grind. But we're still working out the details. But there are confirmed dates. So, we're
Yeah.
excited. So
That's so exciting.
Yeah, getting back into things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a weird time, and I know that we'll all come out of this and things will go back to normal. But it's like
Right.
you got to get creative in the meantime. Well, I want to go back to a little bit of the early days when you first started and learn a little bit more about your networking strategy and your marketing strategy as a whole. So, what kind of networking events did you go to, and how did you take advantage of those?
Okay, the networking events. Like I said, people that know me, saying they have a business meeting, so they'll reach out to me and let me know. So anytime anybody like, oh, we having a business meeting, do you think you can come? I'm going to it. Anytime somebody's like, oh, we have a networking event, you should come. I'm going. I don't care if I don't know what they're talking about. I'm going. Anything you're gonna tell me that's gonna help us, I'm gonna be there. And every time I go to a networking event, I always say, at least if I can reach one person in this room, it's going to be worth it. Every time I go to a networking event, I always meet one person in that room. So it's just a word by mouth. That's my marketing. I should do better on social media. I'm trying my best now. But since it's COVID, so I think it'll be better. But my networking event was me being present and us being present and just networking.
Yeah, I really love that as a strategy. We've talked to some other guests. I know it's not strategy, I don't know if that's the right word, but like I love that as like a thought, like as you're going into a networking event, like just thinking, okay, just one conversation. That's all I need to do. I find that helpful, especially because I'm very introverted, and so going to networking events can feel not natural to me, I guess is the right word. So I think that's a great tip. What about how do you approach that one conversation? You know, how do you start that conversation and get to know people? Are there specific questions that you always try to ask, or a way to introduce yourself in the conversation?
I'm just an outgoing person. I get along with anybody. So I'm going to come up to you like, hey, I'm Patricia. Nice to meet you. I got Chill Cerebral Cafe. And when I said that, I'm like, oh, tell me about it. Boom, there we are,
Yeah.
So, and he's an introvert too. He quiet, but so I'm showing him too, because see how he is now, like very quiet. But once we get done, he's going to talk my head off. But I'm just trying to show him, if you talk to people, you never know what somebody can do to help us to get where we need to be. It's just that one conversation. Reach out and talk to them. It's going to be all right. Even if you mess up, it's okay.
Yeah. I feel especially that's true in Asheville, because it's such a small town that, you never know who someone else knows.
Right.
And people I feel like pay it forward a lot here more than other places in my experience.
Yeah. There's a Gary Vaynerchuk was very informative to me as I was like early 20s and even still today. But one of the things that he used to stress was it doesn't matter how big your audience is, because if you say the thing, whatever that thing is, the thing you need, the thing that you offer, say the thing, and the right person hears of your 10-person audience, you could fast track to the front of the line.
Right.
We don't know who's listening to this episode, who's thinking about moving to Asheville, who's got a grandson who's moving to Asheville, whatever it is. All of a sudden they listen to the episode and you're on their radar and the world changes. I mean, president of Kellogg cereal could be listening to this episode. There's no way to know. And they're like, we're sponsoring them. Like that is how, to me, and I'm obnoxiously optimistic and obnoxiously positive. But the way I think that the world works is that it rushes to meet you when you're moving in a direction with some sense of authority.
If I don't believe it, nobody else gonna believe in it. But so I'm teaching like faith of a mustard seed. We're a seed. We was a little baby seed, and we done grew so big. No matter how many times we fall down, we gonna always get back up and keep it pushing. He gonna remember this for the rest of his life. He might not understand it now because he's 14, but when he go to another job or he start another business, he'll be like, oh, my mama never gave up on something I said to him. He gonna take that, because we always think that what our parents tell us when we get older, like, oh, my mama did tell me that. So right now you're like, oh, okay. But when he get older, you're like, oh yeah, I got this. I can do this. I'm not gonna let nobody stop me, So I'm just trying to teach him that.
I love it. And I look forward to the days when you look back and you're like, man, in 2020, we thought we were big.
Yeah.
We thought it was big in 2020. Can you imagine that? So, Elijah, to put you on the spot, in some of these early meetings and some of the events that you went to or the banks that you visited, what were some of the things that you learned or noticed in these processes?
Something that I learned is like just showing me how to grow up as a business, and like just teaching me to like I don't really know, but like it's I can't really remember right now. But like what I remember from right now is like teaching me how to grow as a business. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the steps, like here's what we need to do, and
Yeah.
all the different components. Well, what about the logo? I mean, so you have a new logo now, but your first logo was a little bit different. How did you create that?
Well, I just thought of something, and my mom said you should draw a logo for our church cereal bar for our first our design, right? And so I drew it, and my mom gave in with this person from West Asheville, somebody like that, and they like created it and like told us how to colored it in, printed us out for us, and we got it done. But like
Nice.
the drawing experience was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many drawings did you do before you got the one that you liked? Was it the first try, or did you do a bunch?
A lot.
Wow.
A lot.
I love it. And do you find yourself drawing a lot, or is that the first time you really sat down and tried to make some work?
No, that was like really the first time I drew really. I don't really draw like that.
Okay. Well, for when it counts, you did a great job, which is I think the lesson. If there seems to be, is you have to do it. You have to figure it out. If listener, if you knew how long we spent trying to troubleshoot making this episode happen, and that's that. I think if I could go back to 14-year-old me, like those are the things that I would love exposure to. I mean, my parents both worked very hard, and that's. I'm blessed, absolutely blessed. But there's just certain things around like troubleshooting, like and I still do it to this day. The only troubleshooting I can think of at 14 was like, if the video game's not working, take it out, blow on the cartridge. And honestly, that's what happened today. Like I just unplugged the computer, turned it back in, tried again. So to me, one of the lessons is, hey, you seem incredibly tenacious, Patricia. Like that just consistent move forward. What's next? How do we do it? And troubleshooting, problem solving. Those are the things.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say is was your biggest challenge or biggest obstacle that you had to come over in creating this business?
COVID. Because like I said, March the 3rd was ribbon cutting. I had so many things lined up and just stopped everything. And it's hard being an entrepreneur, and it's hard trying to show him, it's days I cry because I want it so bad. You want it so bad, or you don't know what direction you need to go into. I'm making the right decision, but I look at him like, yeah, this is the right decision. We're going to figure it out. It's going to happen. I got to just keep being positive. I can't let this take over and be like, oh, well, we started it. We're not going to start back. No, we're going to finish this, and we're going to come out better and stronger than ever before. And I keep saying it because I believe it in my heart. I know in my heart that we're going to be big. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
I believe it too.
I do too. It's just
because of your enthusiasm.
I don't know. Like I haven't Googled it. I don't know if any. So I just think of like there are places in New York. So we moved here from New York about a year and a half ago. There are places in New York, and maybe it's a fundamentally different market, but whatever. Like there was a place that was just rice pudding. There's a place that just does peanut butter and jellies. There's a place that just does. And so while those are brick and mortar in a 10 million person city,
right?
All that does to me is signal that there's a time and a space and there's opportunity to also do it. There's a great metaphor that I heard for the first time in a TED Talk by Benjamin Alexander, who's a conductor for an orchestra, and it has a TED Talk called Shining Eyes that is just absolutely fantastic. And he talks about this whether or not it's true, but the story of people going to some uninhibited continent for the first time and being shoe salesmen. And there's two shoe salesmen, and the one guy writes back on a telegram, "Hope is lost. No one here wears shoes." And then the other guy writes, "Opportunity of a lifetime. No one's wears shoes yet."
Right.
And I think that there's two ways to see the world. It's like, all right, well, no one's making a cereal. Like, there's no competition for a cereal bar
Right.
pop-up brick and mortar in Asheville. Great. That means that we get to be the first to do it. And if there were, great. That means that it's just validated and we can outcompete them.
Right.
So I'm like so inspired by the name, the concept, the story of you two, that I feel like cold emails to the vice president and Kellogg Corp is going to get you guys.
Well, help us out. Yes, anything. Help us out.
Like, I just send it to the top. Like, say, hey, we're looking for some cereal in Asheville. What can you do? I have a feeling you have more cereal than you know what to do with a well-placed email somewhere.
Right. Like I said, like coming on here, like you said, it's like opportunity. Like, I don't never know what's going to happen, but I feel like something going to happen out of a podcast. You know, you never know, so I'm just thinking positive. Like I said, coming out of COVID and having these pop-ups and being on this podcast. Like, when she came for that podcast, I was down. I'm gonna tell you, I was down. This gave me what I needed. I told her that. I was like, you just don't know what I've been going through. People don't know what you go through in your own house when you trying to be an entrepreneur, and you're like, what way can I get back out there? What can I do? And then she gave me that call. That gave me like my back. Like, yes.
And the she that she's talking about is Laura. She's our community director, and it means so much that we have an opportunity to support you, right? To with this little platform that is growing, tell stories of like the community working hard to make it in Asheville. Like, that is the dream that we had, was not to just interview, the biggest, baddest businesses in Western North Carolina. It's also to tell the idea, like early stage, concept stage, or 1 year in.
Because that's often where people need the most help.
Right.
Is in that like struggle moment. Because if someone else is listening and they're like, oh, okay, they're struggling too. Like,
Yeah.
that's.
I feel like we've rebranded, like bringing out Chill Cereal Bar again for the first time. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
All over
Yeah.
again. So I'm reintroducing Chill Cereal Bar to everybody for the first time ever. That's how I feel today. Like, especially with my new logo, especially with a new website, being on a podcast. I just feel like this is the beginning of Chill Cereal Bar all over again.
I love it. And do you mind if I ask questions about you selling these events and what that looks like?
I'm sorry.
So when you sell, like with the Chamber of Commerce as an example, when you work with an event, are you selling a single event? Are you selling a package?
A package.
Events? A package. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, a package.
So how do you pitch Chill Cereal Bar to a location? Maybe it's whatever location it is. How do you pitch? Sell it.
So I just tell them to go to our website. You know how everybody say, go to the website. You can pick out your packages, A, B, C, D, or whatever. So I just say, go to our website and see what you would like. Or sometimes I already have, I always come prepared. I have my little paper and I give them to them at networking events. Like, oh, like, how much is this? Because everybody always asks, like, well, if I do 5 series, how much would it be? And that's what I had a hard time with saying, like, how much it is. I always sell myself short because I'm trying to get our name out there.
Yeah,
so I haven't made no money.
Okay.
So it's basically just trying to get our name out there. I know the money will come, and I know that first year they say you'll never make none, and that's the honest God truth. So but it's gonna come. Yeah, it's gonna come.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's always, it's a balancing act, is how much do you do for free or for cost or for less than cost, to get that brand awareness and get that recognition and get feet in the door. And so that's, I'm with you. If that's a hard place to be.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to be. How did Mountain BizWorks help with coming up with some of those first packages and numbers for, like when you think back to the business plan concept, like were they helping you think, here's how much it costs to buy cereal, we need to make this much, so here's how much we have to sell it for?
Yeah, because I went through Mountain Business Work. I worked with Western Business Center. I've been in Aisha Adams Accelerator program. So I just got done with her program this weekend for the third time. I work with Dr. Joseph Fox. He's my mentor. So I have a lot of mentors and everybody that's helping me with this. So it's like, okay, don't sell yourself short. That's what they keep telling me. But, you're like, I don't know if I should chart it. No, you need to, so just have those other mentors out there and taking different classes to let us know about marketing, about your prices and your audience and everything. So it's, I'm getting my confidence. Like I said, I'm going to these classes and it's building the confidence up. The more confidence I have, he gonna have the confidence in it.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been the most helpful course or area that you learned from all these different classes? And
this weekend I learned about Explore Asheville.
yes.
About marketing. Like I said, I don't market us because I'm just not into that. So I have to get into that. So Explore Asheville, I have learned so much by being in that class for an hour on Saturday, just to know what they do. Because I didn't know about Explore Asheville for some reason. I don't know. I just didn't know about them.
Yeah.
So that and about taxes, I had a class on taxes. I learned a lot about that and about the LBGT community, how to get them involved too, because, we don't think about the other communities than the communities that we have. So if I reach out to them and put it on our website and different stuff, how people like, oh yeah, they for the community like we are, but you never think like that unless you have a class. Like you need to reach out to different communities than the communities that you do.
Yeah. I love that as a statement too. I think it's so hard, and especially with COVID, because we're in our own little bubbles, and social media, right, shows us only what it wants to show us or what it thinks we like, and so then we kind of miss out on all these opportunities a lot of time. But yeah, I think you're doing it right, where you're actively seeking to target or get connected to those different groups and those communities.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I think about marketing for the two of you, I mean, it's the energy that you bring to a physical space. If you can get half of that, if you get a quarter of that to show up in posts, right? It amplifies who the both of you are and this business, and allows it to stay in spaces that you can't physically be in. And so while oftentimes I will say that I think like marketing and social media marketing for early businesses can be just like, it can be playing patty cake. You're not actually pushing a business forward.
Right.
There are certain times where attempting to tell your story, the best place to do it is on social. And the two of you have an incredible story. And so here's to whatever lessons came out of that. Also, absolutely. I think the idea of becoming aware of all of the things in Asheville that are around with the mission of supporting the community is one of our biggest oversights. Like we're constantly trying to learn about all of what's actually here, and so to know that Explore Asheville is available, and you could put up a page on it, and you can let them know that yes, you do conferences. When conferences start happening again in Asheville, what an incredible opportunity. They can just select you as a vendor. That's that's the best. That seems like such a great deal, and it's so easy to not necessarily know unless you know.
Right. And if I didn't take that class with Aisha Adams, I would never known about it. So, because it was a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Saturday was like all day from like 9 to 2. But, Aisha's like, this is the class, Patricia, you need to take for your business. So she was like, oh, you need to take this class, this class. Every class she done tell me like, oh, yeah, I do. And so Pat, which is the director of Explore Asheville, she's going to help us get our page on Explore Asheville now. So I didn't know about that. So like I said, like a word by mouth, like people helping me, whatever you tell me I need to do to help our business grow, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Audience, if you're listening,
Yeah, like
if you have ideas, unsolicited advice, I guess.
Send them in. But I'm one of the things that's coming up for me is like I see customers for you. This is me. I see customers for you as like, the daycares that you're currently working with, and then big, gigantic tourism events. Like when those come back, right? Like there's this opportunity to, or businesses that are investing and not just spending, right? And the key difference and this is with almost every business, is that the goal should be to transition from a cost to an investment. And nothing is different. It's just a psychological shift in who your customer is that says like, oh, well, how much does cereal cost? If I go to Sam's Club, how much would it cost us to like, well, what are they charging? That's not where we want to be. We don't want to be anywhere. You don't want to be anywhere near that. You want to be like, what value am I bringing to the community? What value am I bringing to my guests, to whoever's going to have this opportunity to explore childhood again with candies and cereal and sugar and maybe healthy alternatives, which I don't know if they exist yet, but like, something, almond milk. But like, how are we going to add value to this event? And that value is completely subjective, and value can go up to the moon, but cost can only go down so far.
Right.
So we want to sell stories of value.
Okay. You try and bring the community back together, one cereal bowl at a time.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, like when I think of the thing that is comforting for me, like the traditional thing that I think is stuck in most people's heads is like a bowl of chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I just want some cereal. I just want to watch Netflix.
And that's it.
Be, like in my feelings, and that's cereal.
And your pajamas and a t-shirt and some sweatpants, just eating your bowl of cereal. You come home from a long day, you want some cereal. You eat cereal anytime. Dry cereal. The little babies, you give them the Cheerios.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and then you have this whole culture of people that eat, like they specifically make cereal milk. Have you heard of this?
I was just going to ask about this.
It's like, so there's like this new wave of recipes that are coming out of people who use cereal milk in their coffee because they love the way it tastes. So like you would marinate the cereal in the milk and then drain out the cereal, do whatever you want with it. But
I'm
then
going to
use
try
the milk
that
again.
So
for your
oh
coffee.
my God, it's like cold brew coffee.
Yeah.
Except, so you do with the milk. It's cold brew milk, cereal milk.
Yeah, cereal
milk.
Coffee or something.
So there's something there. And I was just going to ask, like, when you eat cereal, do you attempt to eat it as fast as possible so that it's constantly crunchy the entire time? Or do you let it kind of sit and get a little softer?
A little soft, not too soft, but a little soft. But I don't like all that crunch.
I used to love a really like soft cereal.
No Captain Crunch for you.
Also, I don't know if I've ever had just a bowl of cereal. I think I crush the cereal the first time, leave the milk, reload with cereal, and then that's my.
Yeah, I had a friend in college that would pour the Chex. He would eat Chex milk, Chex cereal, whatever it was. Yeah, he would put that in, and then he intentionally let it sit for 5 minutes or so. Until it became mush. Mush it all together and then eat it like a porridge.
Mush it all together is a little. I would just scoop it out real fast. But so the leftover sugar milk, I think, is a very special thing. And if you're not, hazelnut creamer or whatever, is way less interesting to me than frosted flake milk that's left over, and you get to put that into something. Sign me up.
Yeah. And also we're coming out with something new too. We're gonna try. It's like fruity pebble shot glasses that it's like I made out of fruity pebbles and it's like a shot glass, but you put milk in. It's like a little thing and you can eat it. So we're trying that out too. So we're gonna have something
that.
different coming up. So
Nice.
I'm
just
very
trying to do something different and fun and creative, just something
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Because we're already different and unique. And that's what I told them. Like, in school, kids get bullied for being different, but you want to be different.
the name of
You
the
stand
game.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Elijah, what do your friends at school think about you being a business owner and running this chill cereal bar?
Some of my friends, they think it's cool, really.
Yeah.
They really think it's cool. Like some of my friends, they're supportive with it, and some of my friends, they really don't know about it, but like some
Yeah.
of them, they're really supportive with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
And so, Elijah, opportunity to ask, school in 2020, how is that going for you, right? So I know that the business has changed. Like, are you in school 100% from home right now?
Yes.
Okay. And so has that been a burden? Is that easy for you? Do you like it more? Like, because you mentioned friends. I'm wondering, like, what does friendship look like in
I mean,
2020 for a teenager?
some of my friends, I could still play with them through at like the Xbox or whatever. But like some friends from school or whatnot, like I really don't get to talk to them as much as I used to at school. But like my other friends that doesn't go to the same school as me, I still talk to them like on the phone or like on my Xbox or something like that.
Yeah. And I meant to ask this earlier, but had you ever had any other like entrepreneurial ideas? Were you selling lemonade on the corner?
No, I
This
haven't.
was the first one?
No, not really. Yeah, the first one.
You never know. Cool. And so I think hats off to your friends who are supportive. Those are good friends.
Yes.
Those are good friends. And so I guess a kind of a transition. When you look around the community, it seems like you're dialed into this entrepreneur, whether it's Mountain Bizworth, Aisha Adams, Keenan, right, like who's your community of entrepreneurs in Asheville that you look to or that you work with most?
Who I work with most that I really know is Ken Late.
Yeah, he said my daddy taught me that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And I volunteered for my sister taught me that with Leslie Lake. So me and Leslie went to school and graduated together.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
I absolutely loved that conversation. I look forward. So how is my daddy taught me that and my sister taught me that evolved in pandemic? Because we met them right as it was starting, right? Like, and we weren't exactly sure of what the reopening experience would be like. How has that been in the last 6 months or so?
My daddy taught me that I had a summer program that Elijah was in when I got paid $200 every week.
$225 every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks of learning with math, reading, and science. So they went still, and which that was really good because he got his own money in the summertime. And so that's been good. And they still have a program. My sister taught me that we had program twice, and then we stopped, and then we had lunch this Sunday with the girls, and then we're going to start back again. But it's, here and there with everybody's schedule.
And I imagine doing the best you can with masks and
social distancing.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about what you guys do for fun when you're not slinging cereal or in school or working.
I'm usually playing basketball.
Yeah, he loves basketball.
What position?
I play point guard.
Point guard.
Yes.
Right on. Cool. Yeah, I was not good at basketball. I played defense pretty well. But yeah, I think you learn. I don't know. I'll just speak for myself. Like whatever my friends were into, I tried to be into, and my friends were into lacrosse. I played a lot of lacrosse, but what I love about basketball is like you can go into any town in like the country and there's a hoop somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There aren't many lacrosse nets, except for in New Jersey and Maryland.
Yeah, it's a very New England sport for
so,
sure. What about you, Patricia? What do you like to do for fun?
What I like to do for fun, shop till I drop. Yeah, I've been on that internet going crazy, but yeah, I mean, yeah, shop, like that's my relief because, like I said, I love to dress. It's like expressing myself. You don't know if I'm preppy, if I'm hippish, or whatever. I can change it up. It's just showing my expression of how I feel that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just making me feel pretty, especially if you've been in the house for so long, you want to dress up and look cute. So that's what I like to do. Like to do, especially with COVID. So if I go out somewhere, I want to dress it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I find that the same thing. Like
Yeah.
even just like putting on like a little bit of lipstick, like
Or something,
just
yeah.
something to feel like I
Something.
started my day and I wasn't
Right.
just in my pajamas all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you.
So, yeah.
And yeah, I guess in Asheville, are there? I mean, COVID has made this question much more confusing. But are there places that you frequented most often? Right. So I imagine a basketball court, or where do you play basketball, Elijah? But like places in town that you love more than most.
Where I play basketball at, like since you know where the Reed Center is. Yeah, the Reed Center is now reopening, so I've been visiting there a lot to play basketball and pick up games and stuff like that. And I've been going to my trainer's house. He has like a hoop outside or something like that. I train, and after that, I throw some shots or something like that.
Love it.
I like the downtown area. I just like going downtown and West Asheville.
Yeah.
So I just like visiting different stuff because I like doing different things. So something different that I never did, different restaurants, different anything, just seeing Asheville grow. And the River Arts District is very upbringing. I think that's why I want your cereal bar to be if I have a brick and mortar, either the River Arts District or Hayward Road, because it's upcoming. And because I've been here all my life. So just to see the changes in Asheville is amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this didn't used to be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, even in the short while that we've been here, it seems like it's grown through a pandemic, or it's evolved through a pandemic in a way that is inspired, I guess could be a word, but it's I can only imagine a life in Asheville. Like when you think back to Elijah, this is maybe a slightly silly question. When you were growing up, but or Patricia, a decade or so or more ago, like how are you, I guess, feeling about the changes? How are you? Because we're very aware, I'd say acutely aware, hyper aware of the fact that we're new to town, and we could represent a change that people who have lived here forever don't love, but we're trying to add value and we're working very hard to like add to a community and participate in a community. When you think back to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and the changes, do they leave you feeling inspired? How do they leave you feeling?
wow, make you feel like Asheville was little. You know, you like Asheville was little, but it was little back then. It's growing, like it's growing way too fast, but for a good reason. But back in the day, it just used to be small. Like you can go from Leicester to Asheville in 5 minutes. Now it's taking us 30 minutes to get from Leicester to in Asheville. You know, it's like the traffic, and that's the thing I'm seeing now, the traffic more than anything. You gotta leave early just in case something happens, you know. Now that's something I could think of. I mean, it's growing. It seemed like it's very tourist now, like more, you know, like it used to be felt like it was like homely, but now it's like they done took the home away from Asheville and more now to tourists.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Yeah, we definitely got the sensation over the past year that we've been here that like there are certain places that the locals just don't go to. You know, they're like, it's like, oh, that's too touristy. I'm not going to go to that restaurant because, you know, that's where all the tourists go and hang out. Whereas there's other places that are maybe outside of the downtown area a little more that are lesser known or less touristy. That's where the locals kind of. That's our sensation.
I definitely can see a chill cereal bar in maybe, you know, the Foundation Foundy Street. West Asheville and Haywood, it just makes a lot of sense to me. I think that it would. It's just so funny. I mean, we had on Cakes by Gray, Melissa Gray, right? The idea of having a dessert-themed restaurant. And just like, zigging when others zag. You might be her neighbor if you find space in the River Arts District. But I love that as like a, not even a destination, but as a step in the progression of where you're headed.
Right.
When you set wild dreams over the next year, what kind of things are showing up for you? Is it just getting back into in-person events? Is it finding a solution for in-person events? What are you thinking about most right now?
Getting back out there and doing events. Don't let the COVID stop us. We're going to still follow guidelines just like everybody else and keep it moving, and don't let it stop us. Like, this is not the end. This is the beginning. Like, everybody like this pandemic, you come out stronger, you come out weaker, and we're going to come out stronger and better. So.
Yeah. I love that. Well, we're going to move into what is known as
the speed
speed round. It's not speedy. It's just our sort of final round of questions that we like to ask our guests that are a little bit different than what we've already asked you before.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so my first question is, if you could invent a type of cereal, what would it taste like, look like, be like? And this is for both of you to answer.
Mine would look like colorful and some marshmallows, because I like marshmallows.
So here's my question about marshmallows. Lucky Charms marshmallows. Do you think that those are marshmallows, or are you talking about like squishy marshmallows?
No, I'm talking about the Lucky Charms marshmallows.
Okay. Where like they need to get like water activated, and then it's got a marshmallow bun.
Yeah.
Those are special things. Those are like a different brand. Like there's marshmallows, and then there's like Lucky Charms marshmallows, which are very special.
Yeah, my cereal be girly girl. I know I shouldn't be that way, but it'd be pretty for like the little girls that like it. Like maybe crowns on the head in the cereal. Different stuff that the kids can be like, oh, that's a crown, or that's a princess in there, or something for the little girls. And then maybe I'll do something like trucks or trains for the little boys. Something different. And then for the teenagers, Xbox in the cereal, because they love to play the game. So, what would your cereal be like?
Mine would probably be like little basketballs in there, something like that. Or I'll probably have a cereal with like that looks like Xbox controllers or something like that.
I love that. So my question is: there a cereal that, despite everyone loving, and I hope this doesn't ruin a sponsorship opportunity for you, but despite everyone loving, that you don't love that much? Like, for example, me, growing up, Wheaties commercials were everywhere.
That's what I was going to say. I did not like that.
Wheaties commercials were everywhere. I wanted, was Breakfast of Champions, I think was the Wheaties logo.
Yeah.
Wheaties weren't good. Like, I didn't like it.
See, I went through a Wheaties phase.
Yeah. I'm not good. No, I don't like Wheaties. What cereal? He don't know about Wheaties like that.
Is Wheaties even a thing anymore? You used to collect them because they would have it was like Michael Jordan was on the box, and so you went to get the one with Michael Jordan on it. Mm-hmm. You would go to get the one with Shaq on it. Like, it was such a huge, it was so big of a deal, and it was all sorts of sports. But, and I'd get them. I'm like, nah, because it was like you could get the one with sugar on it, which is Frosted Flakes. Way better.
Yeah.
It's just like objectively more fun.
What cereal do you think that you don't like for your age?
Raisin Brands. Like anything with raisins in cereal.
That's an old people cereal for sure.
Yeah.
I like Raisin Bran a little bit with a little sugar on it a little bit.
Yeah, that's how my grandma used to do it.
The raisins are the saving grace, because otherwise Raisin Bran without raisins is Wheaties, and Wheaties aren't good. So we agree. We're all on the same page.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That is so funny.
Old people cereal. Okay, so my next question is, what was the most inspiring movie, book, or podcast that you consumed recently?
I don't think I really have one. To be honest, I really don't know.
I don't read The Secret again.
Oh wow.
That's my second time reading it. I read The Alchemist again.
Yeah.
Anything with the universe and
conspiring in your
positive,
favor.
and yeah.
I
So
said it earlier today, and I was going to call out The Alchemist, and I wasn't sure. So that's amazing. So you just read The Alchemist again?
again, yeah.
That's one of our
And I
favorites.
was gonna have Elijah read it too because
Oh, it's the
you
best.
know,
You can listen to it
Gotta
on tape.
keep him.
I literally in our last episode we recorded. I don't know when this will come out and what the order of them will be. But in the last episode we recorded, I just talked about listened to it for the first time. So I've read that book since my sophomore year of high school. I think I read it like 7 times.
okay.
So maybe every 2 years or so I'll sit down and reread it. And I just listened to it and I loved it. Jeremy Irons, great like accent and a little voice to talk it all through, but it's so beautiful and so eloquent and simple, right? Like every sentence is in like present tense. It's just the most simple words, and they're so powerful in their simplicity, and it feels right. It sounds right. It lets. Oh man, cool! Love that book. Shout out to Paulo Coelho.
Yes.
Favorite. So, and a little behind the scenes love story thing for Sarah and Tony. Years ago, Sarah sent me The Alchemist in Italian as like a thank you for being a friend. It was a shot to the heart. It was Cupid. I was like, she gets me.
Yeah. That's how it is when somebody tell you to read that. You're like, oh my gosh, you into that too?
Yeah. We need like the Alchemist fan club of people, which is like the whole world. I feel like everyone loves that book. If you've read it, you've got to love it, you know. So, yeah.
It's really good.
Okay, we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Is this a question about? Cool. So if so, this is for both of you, individually, not as a collective. If Sarah and I or our audience had a magic wand and could grant you a single wish today, right now, at this moment, what would that wish be?
A cereal bus for me.
Like anything,
It's a magic wand.
make it to the NBA.
Love that. Love both of those answers.
Love that too. Perfect. Just heard about someone trying to sell a bus. We will we'll circle back with you, or a van. It might be V1, big vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's put it into the universe and let's see how it conspires in our favor.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, the
It's still
final
come.
it is. The final question is if our audience wanted to connect with you guys, what's the best way to do that?
You can go on Facebook. Facebook. We have our website now back up. And you reach us on Facebook, Instagram. We got Twitter. So we have all the social media.
All the bases covered. And we'll have links to all of those places in the show notes for this episode. On the player that you're listening to, the description, we should have links to make it real easy for you listeners. But Elijah and Patricia, thank you so much for your time today. We are so excited. Can't wait to have Cyril with you in the future. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. And thank you for all your hard work for coming here in Asheville, making it in Asheville happen.